Hello students, I am Dashrath Jadhav from DP Bhosle College, Koregaon. I welcome all of you in this ROSE project run by Rayat Shikshan Sanstha, Satara. Today we learn 12th standard English subject, second section of our textbook, poetry section. In this poetry section, poem number 3, The Inchcape Rock. The poet of this poem, Robert Southey. Today we learn second part of this poem. In this second part, stanza number 9 up to last stanza number 17. So, all of you know the learning poem for the enjoyment. And if we really want to enjoy the poem, we should read this poem in proper tone and intonation. Another thing that if we read poem properly, we can understand the rhythm of the poem. So listen carefully the poem. I begins here with stanza number 9. The boat is lowered, the boatmen row, and to the Inchcape Rock they go. Sir Ralph bent over from the boat, and he cut the bell from the Inchcape float. Down sunk the bell with a gurgling sound. The bubbles rose and burst around. Quoth Sir Ralph, the next who comes to the rock, own to bless the abbot of Aberbrothok. Sir Ralph the rower sailed away. He scoured the seas for many a day, and now grown rich with a plunder store, he steers course for Scotland shore. So thick a haze overspreads the sky, they cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown a gale all day, at evening it hath died away. On the deck the rower takes his stand, so dark it is they see no land. Quoth Sir Ralph, it will be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon. Canst hear, said one, the breakers roar, for methinks we should be near the shore. Now, where we are, I cannot tell, but I wish I could hear the Inchcape bell. They hear no sound. The swell is strong. Though the wind hath fallen, they drift along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. O Christ, it is the Inchcape Rock. Sir Ralph the rower tore his hair. He cursed himself in his despair. The waves rush in every side. The ship is sinking beneath the tide. But even in his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the rower hear, a sound as if with the Inchcape bell, the devil below was ringing his knell. So, after listening these stanzas, you know the previous part of this poem. This is a legendary story of a pirate who removed the bell. Here, listen carefully. The paraphrase of the poem, you can understand the remaining part of the poem. We begin with the ninth stanza. This stanza describes that the rowersman took the boat to the Inchcape Rock. There he bent over the boat and cut the bell from the rock. The Inchcape bell was sinking down with a gurgling sound, and bubbles rose and burst around. Sir Ralph was happy, thinking that the bed would save no more ships and the seamen would no longer bless the abbot. Then Ralph sailed away from the rock. He had robbed and looted many ships. He was now a rich man. He was going to the Scotland shore with his ship. The atmosphere was gloomy on that day. The sun was hidden behind the thick fog. Strong winds were blowing all the day. In the evening, it has stopped blowing. The rower was on the deck of his ship. They could not see land because it was very dark. Sir Ralph assured that the moon will appear soon and there will be light. One of the Ralph's men said that he heard a roaring sound of the waves. They should be near the shore. He also regrets that the Inchcape bell is no more, as it could guide them in this situation. But no sound was there. The tides were strong. The rower and his crew moved slowly along with the ship. Suddenly, the vessel has hit the Inchcape Rock. Sir Ralph the rower pulls his hair in frustration. He cursed himself for his evil deeds. Meanwhile, the water fills in every corner of the vessel and it starts sinking in the sea. In the last stanza of the poem, as the rower is dying, he heard sound like the ringing of the Inchcape bell. It was actually his death knell. That the devil himself was ringing beneath the water. Thus, the rower gets punishment for his sinful work. So, this is the paraphrase of the poem. After that, in this next image, you can see the poet Robert Southey used figures of speech in this poem. In this second part of the poem, the poet used 6 figures of speech. In that, number 1, figure of speech, alliteration. And the example of alliteration like this way: Sir Ralph bent over from the boat. The bubbles rose and burst around. And the third one, he scoured the seas for many a day. Next figure of speech, apostrophe. Only one example we can find out from this poem, and that example is, "Oh Christ, it is the Inchcape Rock." Next figure of speech, metaphor, and the example of it, "For there is the dawn of the rising moon." And second example, "The devil below was ringing his knell." In the next slide, another remaining three figures of speech. In that, fourth one figure of speech is onomatopoeia, and the example of it, "Down sung the bell with a gurgling sound." "Canst hear," said one, "the breakers roar." And the third example, "a sound as if with the Inchcape bell." All these are the examples of onomatopoeia. Next figure of speech, exclamation, and the example of it, "Oh Christ, it is the Inchcape Rock." And last figure of speech, inversion, and the examples of this figure of speech, "And to the Inchcape Rock they go." Second one, "Down sung the bell with a gurgling sound." And last example, "At evening it hath died away." So, in this way, Robert Southey used these 6 figures of speech in the second part of the poem. In this second part, the poet used archaic word. Archaic word means old English words. Here, 2 words are used. In that, number 1 word is canst, old English form of can you. Here, generally, the meaning of this archaic word can you means asking a question. Second word, methinks, old English form of I think. And in our day-to-day life, this old English word we use like this way, "it seems to me." The poet used imagery in this poem. 2 types of imagery poet used: visual imagery and sound imagery. In the first part of the poem, the poet used both types of imagery. But in the second part, we can find out only the examples of visual imagery. The first example of it, "So thick a haze overspreads the sky." And next one, "They cannot see the sun on high." These are the examples of visual imagery. You know, students, the whole poem full of rhyme scheme, means every stanza of the poem with rhyme scheme, from the stanza number 1 up to the stanza number 17. Here we can take the example of last stanza, stanza number 17. This stanza's first line, last word fear. Second line's last word here. Third line's last word bell. And fourth line's last word net. So you know the rhyming words. Fear, here, bell, knell. And in this way, the rhyme scheme of this stanza AABB. The whole poem's rhyme scheme same AABB. This poem is a didactic poem. Means the poem teaches us morals. What is the moral of the poem? The moral of the poem, when we try to trouble others, trouble first comes to the door. This is the moral of the poem. Okay? Thank you.